William Davison is a senior Ethiopia analyst at the International Crisis Group. Thanks for your time, William. It was the government, of course, that, first of all, it was a unilateral ceasefire, and then they said that they hoped that the TPLF would comply. The rebels said that they would. So what persuaded the government to call the ceasefire? It hadn't previously been concerned about the humanitarian situation.
Yeah, I mean, as we can tell from your report, it is quite a confusing situation, a lot of claim and counterclaim. Yes, there's been this focus on the truth, but really this is about the delivery of aid to Tigray. If aid can be consistently delivered by road, so that you have the capacity to meet the needs, either through Afar or through another route, that might build some sort of trust between the federal and Tigray governments, and to get a peace process going. So I think there's a lot of focus on this announcement of a truce, but really the key thing is whether we can see a consistent scaling up of the delivery of food aid and other needed items to Tigray.
OK, so is there nothing political behind it? Because if there isn't even a certain level of political understanding between the two sides, does that suggest the truce ceasefire would even hold?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I think we're at the beginnings of a process which in some ways looks more promising than in the past. For example, there's been some direct contact between the Tigray commanders and federal commanders. We hear that there is a shift in the thinking from Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, but there's certainly a lot of ways that this peace process can go wrong. And the first thing, in many ways, it has gone wrong already because we haven't seen any aid delivered to Tigray since this announcement by the federal government. But as I stated, that is absolutely the first thing that needs to happen. Hopefully that will build some trust, and then we can move on to more permanent ceasefire arrangements and broader political talks in the future.
Yeah, William, you've used the word goodwill and you've used the word trust. But what about the people of Tigray? Not those who are doing the fighting, not those who are making the decisions. Hasn't 17 months of war, of government troops being in Tigray and the government being accused of holding back, of making sure that humanitarian assistance didn't get to the people who need it? Aren't they going to be so upset, even for generations, that that trust from them is lost in the government that sits in Addis Ababa?
Yes, I think these are very relevant questions for Ethiopia and Tigray's future. It's now almost 4 months since the Tigray forces, after their offensive, threatening even Addis Ababa, the capital, they returned to Tigray. But since then, we've seen no aid get into Tigray. And that is just the latest instance of assistance being blocked. So absolutely, there is that type of attitude from the Tigrayan people as we understand it, although obviously it's very hard to hear from the Tigrayan people because there are no telecom services in the region, and the region is largely disconnected from the world. But it is my understanding that there is significant secessionist sentiment growing inside Tigray, with many people not feeling Ethiopian anymore and looking towards a future of a Tigrayan nation state.
OK, William, I'm sure we'll be speaking to you again as this situation continues there in Tigray and across Ethiopia. Thanks so much. William Davison from the International Crisis Group.